Wilson.
And I'm Chris Ehmke.
And this is Diesel Performance Podcast. Guys, we got exciting news today. We're going to talk about some new product launches that are hitting the market. Really exciting stuff.
Yeah, some things people said couldn't be done.
Absolutely. Right at the top of the show, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Calibrated Power Duramax Tuner. I'm going to announce it here first because it's going to be coming out very soon.
Yep.
We are having a huge sale in March.
Paul, you announced it this last week, and I've already had guys calling and asking about it. So we really appreciate all of our listeners,
Absolutely.
right? But we have a huge March sale going down, kind of comes right in line with tax season, right?
That's right.
So we are going to have turbos, tuning, transmissions, just a bunch of cool stuff available. And you can save some money in the process.
That's right, man. Absolutely. WC Fab, God, if you need something cool or something to look cool, they're pretty much the guys to talk to.
You know, I'll tell you what, they just publicly released their Y-bridge kits for the LBZ and LMM trucks that utilize the EGR and the throttle valve. So it eliminates the potential risk of failure with the two-piece Y-bridge design with the O-ring seal. I've been having guys, chomping at the bit, wanting to get those things. We've set up a couple customers with them recently. So, it's more to come with those guys. It's truly innovative to see what they're able to do and adopt to the times.
Absolutely. Exergy Performance, that's where we go for high-pressure common rail fuel equipment. So if we want injectors, rails, seals, gaskets, CP3 pumps, CP4 pumps, whatever it is, we use Exergy because we know we're going to get the same high-quality part every single time. Their consistency is what makes them key.
And then XDP, right? Your one-stop shop, anything diesel related. I just purchased a newer truck, right? And I'm going through, it's a used truck, new to me, and I'm doing all the service, right? Trans service, oil, all my filters, air filter, everything. And I went right on XDP's website, and I went to all of their fluids and filters as they have options for, and I literally just went through and ordered everything right off the website.
That's so nice.
Everything was there. It was easy to click, easy to decipher what's what. And within about 15 minutes, I had all my fuel filter, oil filters, oil, cool, trans fluid stuff, everything I needed.
I love that. Absolutely. All right, well, let's dive into it. New product number one, I want to talk about what they said couldn't be done. That is remote custom tuning for your L5P without having to pull the ECM out of the truck. So HP Tuners just released the Unlock cable. I think they call it an ECM cable upgrade.
Yeah, it's real creative.
Yeah. It's an unlock cable. You can unlock your ECM without having to remove it from the truck. It plugs into your MPVI 3 or MPVI 2 with the Pro upgrade, either one. MPVI 3 is going to be more prevalent. That's the OBD2 port plug-in. It's a great little connector that connects your laptop to the truck, and you're able to communicate through the OBD2 port. Now you'll also have this breakout harness that'll drop down and plug into a fuse panel and be able to unlock the ECM. It's so cool. Yep. Can you talk a little bit about what this means for customers?
So I think the first thing is some of the listeners are going to listen to this and be like, oh, well, there's other products on the market that can do the unlock.
The
right?
Edge?
I didn't want to name drop, but yes,
sure.
The Edge is available. But the Edge's ability to unlock the controller is for still a canned program to get loaded into the ECM. So there are some guys out there that are buying Edge units to do the unlock, to then do HP tuner flashing, and it's considerably expensive.
Yeah.
The old way of doing things, we still do it here at the shop. We offer it as an option, is you could just buy a new controller that's already unlocked, and that was where a lot of the cost came into tuning your 2017 plus 6.6 Duramax. So what does this unlock mean? Well, this unlock means that you could take your factory ECM, leave it in the truck, not touch it. No more risk of tab breaking, no risk of bending the pins. We've seen some crazy stuff at the shop in the past. And you're able to unlock and flash your controller in the truck. What I take as a highlight out of this is you no longer have to worry about doing crank position relearn or a VATS relearn, meaning you're not going to lose your remote start because of an ECM swap or have to take a truck to a dealer for an MDI Tech 2 to do the VATS relearn procedure. So what was once, $4,000 or $5,000 in a process, and you're biting your fingernails like, what if, God forbid you break the ECM tabs, that was a shit day altogether. You're now able to streamline that process, and you could literally tune one of these trucks for a couple $1,000s all in, unlock your own controller, no longer need VATS relearn, no longer have to do anything more than roughly a 15 to 20 minute flash process.
So nice.
So
nice. The L5P install has been one of those things that I think has held a lot of guys back from doing custom tuning because the installation process itself it's intensive. It feels labor intensive.
It's
and like
more
you
than
mentioned, the VATS relearn and losing your remote start on what's a $60,000 to $100,000 truck. It just feels crazy. It just feels like there's no way I would have this much technology available from the factory and lose it to gain 150 horsepower.
Well, think about this, right? You come from an LBZ, any of the older Duramaxes, right?
Yeah.
You legitimately were able to buy a flash tool and flash the controller, and you could increase 150 horsepower within, 15 minutes? And if you had to install a DSP-style switch, call it another hour. So an hour and a half, nothing was unplugged, replugged. You literally just had a wire in the switch, and the truck was done. To now getting into the L5P process, you're talking big figured products. You're talking $1,000 controller, $650 unlock. You're talking the flash tool, the credits, the tuning, all of that. And then you're told, hey, this is an hour or two process, right? And there's online instructions, but you have to do it step by step. And if you don't, this could cost you more money.
Yeah.
Right.
Not to mention how many guys just recently, say last month, were talking about getting bricked ECMs.
Yeah. That was a very common thing. Yep. Or you get into this process where, you try to do the ECM swap, you try to do the flash, and something gets interrupted during that, and now you're kind of left because you did it on an evening, and you're up shit's creek, and then you go on social media and you say, hey, I have this issue, and there's tens of people, hundreds of people that will go on a forum and say, oh, that happened to me, but it's a different situation, and now you're just left in the dark even further with a truck that doesn't run, turnkey, nothing like that. And you spent a lot of money. I always say I don't like to mix money and emotion. That's two things that are very hard not to mix when you're heavily invested into something financially or emotionally. So this really does streamline that process. And I mean, realistically, like you said, we're talking a $60,000 to $100,000 truck. You can now start to see those 17, 19 trucks in that, $50,000, $60,000 range for a nice used one, depending on trim level that you're looking for. So I don't think it's really off to talk about a couple $1,000 tuning package,
right?
Considering what the truck costs. But like I said, the whole process is streamlined, and there's no longer this, fiddle fucking around of, I have to do the VATS, I have to do this relearn, I have to, do this black art that I never had to do in my old truck.
No, I love it. And I mean, guys, at the end of this, you're going to have the big tunes 150 horsepower over, the street tune, which are actually going to drive most of the time, is about 100 horsepower or over stock. That's going to come up with the torque too. You're going to have this amazing drivability. And I think that's one of the things that as these new products launch, or new service launches for the L5P, we got to step back and think about, well, why is somebody tuning their truck in the first place? You're tuning your truck because you want to get the best possible performance out of it. And the reason you want switch on the fly is because you use your truck for different reasons, and you need a tune to optimize that truck for each one of those reasons. So now we have steering wheel switch on the fly control, which is probably one of the coolest features I've ever seen in custom tuning.
Probably the only platform I can say I've never sold a switch to a customer for. You could do the switch, or you could do it through the cruise control. Wait, what? What is
I just pulled the switch off the product offering. We're listen, the smartest way to do this, you use your cruise control buttons that are right on the steering wheel. It's very rare to find one of these trucks stripped down enough to not have that. So if you have cruise control steering wheel or cruise control on your steering wheel, you can actually switch your tunes and toggle through your 5 power levels right on the steering wheel. No hardwire switch to rotate or get lost or knob to break or anything like that. You don't have to drill holes in your dash. So it's so slick and easy. Now with this, we're going to strongly recommend transmission tuning. For your 17 and 19, that's immediately available. You pick up an unlock controller. We've got a core on those. It's really hard to find TCMs for any GM products right now.
I mean, we offer, you send in the controller. There's options, right?
Yeah,
you
there's
send it
options.
in, have it unlocked, or get an unlocked controller. And it sounds like, talking to Nick earlier today, in the R&D, it sounds like, maybe 10-speed stuff isn't that far behind.
They're knocking on the
future.
door. We can publicly state that R&D is happening on tuning 10-speed transmissions. I think that's okay at this point. We can't say who it's with or give any other details. But we can
But
say
there are some stuff circulating.
10-speed Allison transmission tuning is in the works. We're seeing R&D on it. How long it's going to take to come out, what the process is going to be, those are all kind of TBD at this point. But it is really, really exciting times for the Duramax platform.
No, it really is. And it's crazy because anytime something, it seems, I was just talking to a customer earlier today, a new Cummins thing comes out, it's like, okay, cool, and you'll get a couple early adopters, and it gains its momentum. You see that in some of the Ford stuff. We'll be getting into some Ford stuff here shortly. But it seems like anything for a 6.6 Duramax, when it hits the market, just the GM Duramax crowd just flock to it.
Absolutely.
It's like, you guys are just the biggest cult I've ever seen, man. It's just insane.
It's a gotta have it crew.
It is.
You know,
it
and
really
I'm
is.
cool with that. I'm the same way. So like, yeah, it is brand new. It's the newest, shiniest thing on the block. It's the coolest thing that's out there right now for the L5Ps. I think a lot of you guys who maybe were on the fence and thinking about doing it or wanting to do it one day, those type of things, I think this is that push to kind of help you say, oh, okay, let's do it. This is the process I wanted.
Yep.
This is how I wanted to do it. This makes a lot of sense. Guys out there who still want to send in their ECM or buy an unlocked ECM, we can still provide that service. We're not discontinuing those product lines. We're simply adding to the offering so that if this is the right option for you, we can help set you up with it. And now if you're not sure which option is right for you, might be a good idea to get a hold of Chris.
Yeah, no, I mean, be glad to help. You know what? As you're saying that, let's dive into that a little bit. Like, I think about this. What would warrant someone to wanting to spend the extra money for a replacement ECM? In my mind, right away, it's someone who is maybe a little bit more sensitive to warranty and wants to do anything they can to potentially retain it.
Yeah. If warranty is your number one priority when you're thinking about tuning your truck, the unlocked ECM being shipped out to you is by far the best option, in my opinion. You can swap back to your factory ECM at any time. You're not going to run into those type of problems. So I think you're pretty good to go there. If your number one concern is what's the installation like I'm really, really scared of the install more than anything else, but I know I want tuning.
Then doing the unlock cable is probably going to be your easiest option.
It doesn't get any easier as far as ECMs
or
go.
Or if you're not worried, you bought a secondhand truck and it's out of warranty, that unlock option is going to be the easiest. It's going to be the most simplistic.
It's also going to cost the least.
The cheapest.
Yeah.
So.
And you're getting the same tuning no matter which way you go. So
it's just
any of the
process.
services, right? The different process, but you're going to have the same results of driving the truck and that feeling and that experience of really loving to hit that gas pedal every single time, no matter which service you choose. So, yeah, man, L5P stuff, I love it.
Yeah. Then shifting gears, crazy breakthrough in the industry yesterday. S&S is a company out of Indiana. They do common rail injection stuff. A lot of respect for them in the industry. We know who they are, and they have some pretty cool product. But they just released the first of its kind to the market, an injector pump conversion for the 2011 through the 2019 6.7 Power Stroke.
What's the problem? Are those CP4s? What's the problem with those pumps?
Those are CP4s. So similar to what you see in the LML world, similar to what you see in the 1920 Rams, the CP4, just due to fuel contamination and stuff like that, can cause the pump to potentially fail. And then when the pump fails, the pump will end up eating itself off the cam lobe, and it has the ability to send debris through the high pressure system,
which could ruin everything.
So that's where, for us, over at where we work, I generally recommend a system saver from Exergy. That's kind of like a Band-Aid to keep things out of the equation in the event it were to fail. We've seen for years in the LML world, guys would just swap a CP3 into the truck.
Yeah.
So,
which S&S, I believe, is the first one. It might be the only one who had a 50 state 10 mil.
There's
or
a couple
50 state CP3 swap. They were the first. I don't think they're the only one.
I don't think they're the only one. There's a lot of no tune required conversions, whether they're EO certed or not. I don't know. I'm not going to speak on that. But there are several businesses out there that offer no tune required CP3 conversion for emissions trucks, whatever.
Right.
So yesterday I took a little bit of time. I saw a video that Luke over at S&S did regarding the new product and what some of the benefits were and some of the history and background on the Power Stroke. And there were a couple things that I noted that I thought were very interesting. For an example, Paul, the LML Duramax, like I said, very common to do a CP3 conversion on that. Why do you think that is?
Well, CP4s fail constantly. CP3s have a great reputation for being ultra reliable.
Well, what's unique is that the V8 block was originally designed around a CP3. That's what makes it so user-friendly to interchange a CP4 to a CP3 on an LML platform. The reason there hasn't been a CP3 style pump offered in the Power Stroke space is the engine block was designed around a CP4, so there's a tighter quarters where that CP4 is housed, so you could never fit a CP3 because of the bulkiness.
Right.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that is.
In this video too, they have 3 pumps that are broken down, and you're able, he illustrates what the plunger and what the pistons look like inside the pump, and it really gives you a more in-depth understanding of how much more of a workload, as cool of a design as what the CP4 is, the added stress of movement that CP4 brings to the table compared to a CP3, you get to really understand why the CP3 is such a long-living pump.
Right.
So they have a new pump. It's called, I believe it's a DCR is what they're calling it.
Okay.
It is their own in-house designed pump. They ended up doing a partnership with Standinine Fuel Systems on this, which they're more known for the mechanical injection world. But it was just super, super cool to see new technology to, a really... Think about it, 6.7's been out 13 years.
Yeah.
Right? So to a platform that's 13 years old and shedding a little bit of light to these guys, like, hey, you buy a truck secondhand, hey, you buy a newer truck. They're not available for the 2020 pluses. In the video, they did say that they were kind of going back to that type of redesign for those trucks as well. But I'll just tell you what, man, from a Ford perspective, I didn't realize how many friends I had on social media that were Ford enthusiasts, just breaking social media with this DCR pump and what it had to offer.
Yeah, it's so cool. I do love when companies are still able to innovate, right? I mean, I think that's what's really cool about this is taking a look at a problem that everybody with these trucks has. And maybe you haven't had it yet, but it's one of those where it's like, you haven't had it yet. We know you're going to have it. And then really kind of thinking through the problem from scratch. Because I'll tell you, getting castings made, designing, manufacturing, this all takes not only money, it takes money, but it takes time and passion. It takes somebody to really understand the engineering side of the business.
You have to be running on
and be able
so
to
many.
run with it.
You have to be running on so many cylinders for that, right? Like, you could have the money, and the money's not going to get you there. You could have the design. You could have the design, but you might not have the resources.
Right.
Or you could have the resources, not have the design, not have the money, right? So it really takes that special individual and a certain foundation to be able to come to the table with something like this. So they did say that it's a pre-release product. They're a few months out from this being to the public. But I'll just tell you what, man, just so much hype around this. And it's cool technology. It's cool to see that it's a drop-in, plug-and-play style kit. It seemed fairly simplistic. When the engine's on an engine stand and they're like, hey, there's nothing dressed up on it. It doesn't look too hard.
Yeah.
But, it's just pretty cool to see that innovation.
Absolutely. I'm excited, man. Guys, if you're out there and you know of any other cool new products that you'd like to hear us talk about or learn more about, hit us up on Fans of Diesel Performance Podcast Facebook group. We'd love to get back to you there. Paige has been rocking lately.
Yeah.
We got a great job. One of the guys here has been helping us out with it. Big shout out to Penn Lawson. So if you have ideas for the show or you have new products out there that you want to hear us talk about, hit us up. Let us know. In the future, if you hadn't noticed, we are going to a Tuesday release. Tuesday, all of our podcast episodes are going to come out. So Tuesday morning when you go to work, hopefully nobody works before 5 a.m. We're going to put them out there nice and early so you guys can listen to them on Tuesdays. That'll just be the new standard going forward. So for today, this has been Paul Wilson.
And Chris Ehmke.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us today, guys. This has been Paul Wilson.
And Chris Ehmke.
Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Dude, Justin, you're a bitch ass. Hit it.